Hello everyone and welcome back to another Rise of Kingdoms video. This is Dragothian here, and today we're going to be continuing our KVK Season 1 Best of series, and we're going to go into the rallying portion of this. Rallying is a huge part of the beginning of any kingdom, and certainly once you get into the Lost Kingdom Season 1, there's going to be a ton of rallying. That's one of the best KVKs you're going to be experiencing in this game, so I want to make sure you guys know what the best pairings are for each type of troop. We'll also go into mixed troop pairings as well. I hope you stay tuned. Alright, so let's jump into it. I think that let's start off with whatever it tells us to. So, how about this? We'll start off with archers. So, archers, very similarly to the last video, is going to be heavily influenced by YSG. This isn't necessarily a ranking from 1 to 5, although it kind of is. But mainly I want you to understand why I'm picking what I'm picking, so you know what to use while you're in the Lost Kingdom. Especially Season 1, you're really kind of relegated to the beginning commanders, the Gold Key commanders. There's 2 wheels before Lost Kingdom 1, and that is the Richard wheel and the YSG wheel. So you want to make sure that, especially with YSG, you have him maxed up as much as possible for this particular purpose. But we're going to go ahead and start with archers this time. We don't have we have El Cid. We don't have Ramses, Artemisia, things like that. So we need to make sure that we're being very tight-knit on what we're putting out there. So first one that I'm putting out is YSG and Mehmed, especially for city rallies. This is one of the best rallies for archers in the game, even to this day. One of the best rallies in the game from a pure damage standpoint, especially against cities. They both have skill enhancements, so skill damage dealt plus 20% from Mehmed, and then same thing with the 4th skill for YSG, 50% active skill damage increase as well. So very, very nice skill damage enhancements, and then all the extra skill damage you get when attacking cities from Mehmed is very, very good. Also, when you launch a rally, increases the rallied army capacity by 10%, which in Lost Kingdom is almost one of the best buffs you can get, because most people in Lost Kingdom 1, they aren't going to have a whole lot of troops. So if you can max out a rally, the devastation that part of it will cause will be very, very good. That's why you'll see a lot of leadership style commanders in here that have those extra bonuses in their skills, where it's increasing rally size and things like that. Very, very good. So YSG and Mehmed at number 1. Same thing again, YSG Freddy, again an end game pairing that is usable from the beginning of the game all the way to where we're at now, and similar ideas, right? This one doesn't, Freddy doesn't have a skill damage enhancement, but he does have a heal, which is very nice. 10% chance to heal a portion of slightly wounded units. Also increases all damage by 10% when attacking other governor cities. This is just a troop capacity bonus from number 4, but his primary skill, obviously one of the better ones. And again, you're going to be using the skill tree on YSG, and that enhances one of the best single target nukes in the game. In addition to, if you want to add latent power to that talent build as well from YSG, that will also enhance Freddy's main skill. And again, we already went over YSG and how good he is and why. So both of these commanders paired up as a rallying pair, especially against a city, works really, really well. But this works open field too. All of these pairings will work open field and city. Just some will work better in city, which is even crazy to think about. So third one, this one's a little bit different than I think some people might think, but hear me out on this. So this is also a pairing that is usable late game as well. YSG Caesar is a good open field and rallying combo. Now, the reason this still works is because of YSG's second skill, and especially if you go into Feral Nature on the skill talent path. For YSG, the Art of Archery talent here increases attack of all archer units by 100% for 3 seconds. That's huge in a rally. And the 10% chance to grant an additional 100 rage. This happens to proc fairly regularly. In addition to having Feral Nature, you're going to be churning skills like crazy. And because of that, Julius's primary skill here, increasing the damage of everything by 30% here, and increasing the troops' attack and defense by 20%, will be live when it comes back around for YSG to cast his primary skill, which is also one of the best skills in the game, a circular 1700 direct damage factor AoE. Very, very nice. And when you're rallying, generally you're only going to have one target, so you won't have a debuff to the target damage because it's just one target. So very, very good. This one will also pump out a ton of damage. Also with Julius too, you've got reducing the damage taken by 10%, which is always good. Also, if you're less than 60% health, you have a 10% chance to further reduce the damage taken by 30% for the next 3 seconds, which is really nice. And then on top of all that, you have a 10% chance to reduce the enemy's defense by 30% every turn when attacking a governor's cities. Lasts for 3 seconds. It's very, very good. Just the defense reduction and attack reduction that you're doing with this rally, and then also just the sheer amount of AoE damage, and then the attack damage boost that you get from YSG as well. Very, very nice. Also, there's a little bit of a small nuke if you do have Julius Caesar maxed out, although that's not really that big of a deal. It's still very nice. And if you have Phoenix-tailed arrows on the talent path, which we went over yesterday in our Community Monday stream, that's just a lot of extra skill damage popping out, which is always good from a rally. You can also put Scipio here too if you do not have Julius at least 555, which is where I would start using him when it comes to rallying purposes, because the 4th skill is really an open field purpose skill. So and then his expertise is really just kind of an extra 400 damage nuke, which is okay, not great. So if you don't have him maxed at least 555, put a max Scipio in there and you'll be in really good shape as well. 4th one, Hermann YSG. This is a great open field pairing, but also does work in rallies. Reason being, you're silencing the garrison, which is very nice. Usually, I don't think there's many garrisons that's going to be able to stop that from happening early game in Season 1. And then you've got archer attack bonuses, and you've also got normal attack bonuses and the chance to grant an additional 100 rage. Also, you're reducing the target's rage by 100 as well. So you're causing a lot of chaos when it comes to the commander that you're trying to rally, whether it's an open field flag or a city. You're going to be really disrupting what they've got going on. So that's going to be very helpful. And again, with YSG, of course, YSG is going to be really prevalent through this entire part here. Even with the other troop commanders, you're going to be in good shape. And then finally, Kusunoki YSG. Again, these last two are kind of A and B when it comes to what you can use them for. The reason Kusunoki works so well is because you remove all debuffs after you cast your first skill. But again, if it's a silence and that silence goes off before Kusunoki's skill, that means that he can't cast it. So it's going to be delayed even further, and it's going to be kind of pointless. So that's why I kind of put him last, but he is very, very good. And again, this is a combination that is used in Canyon today. This is a combination that's used in Endgame as well because of the prevalence of debuffs. You can definitely remove the debuffs with Kusunoki and you're in really good shape. Also, the bonuses to archer attack and defense is very nice, and the extra additional skill damage on the 4th skill works really well. And then, of course, YSG. So that's the archer pairings. Let's swap over to Cav. This is going to be your tried and true with Cav. Until Season 2 comes out and you start getting into Saladin and Genghis, this is your Cav gold standard. Mina double C, that's going to be the way to go. The amount of damage you're pumping out with Minamoto and double C's primary skills is very, very good. Double C also has a little bit of a heal and rage restoration as well. Very good to have. And his 3rd skill, 30% attack bonus. That's almost 2nd generation level. So very good attack bonus there. And then, of course, Minamoto, he's got extra damage capabilities with his skills when it comes to additional skill damage. When you max him, it's 75% chance to deal that additional 600 times 2. So that makes 1200 plus 1400. That's 2600 skill damage factor, guys. That's huge. There's no other commander in the game once that procs off that has that much skill damage factor in one skill. So something to take into account. And then again, with the 2nd skill here, attack by 20%, all of that stacks up. That's why this pairing is always very good to have early game. And even late game still works just fine. 2nd pairing, for rallies, Baybars YSG. So why Baybars are over Pelagius or something like that, right? So Baybars, first off, his 1st skill is an AoE, which rallies don't really matter for AoE, but it's good to have if there is a swarm that will help you a little bit, hopefully. But his 2nd skill here, another 20% Cav attack bonus. 3rd skill, when attacking cities, normal attacks have a 100% chance to decrease garrison's attack and defense by 7%. That's huge. You're going to cause more damage, and they're going to cause less damage to you. Very, very nice. And then, of course, YSG being YSG is going to make all those skills go off faster. And then on top of all that, the AoE damage and the damage bonus that you get from YSG as well. Nobody's going to want to swarm this rally because of all the AoE damage, especially KVK Season 1. You don't have Attila, you don't have a lot of tanky builds that can swarm stuff, so this is very, very good. Third skill. We got Mina, or third pairing, we got Mina and Mehmed. Same premise that we did on the YSG Mehmed. Same exact thing. Additional skill damage. You want to have latent power inside of this talent build. We already went over Mina and why he's so good. His skill damage single target is amazing. And then you're going to pair that with Mehmed, who has some of the best skill damage in the game when you're rallying cities. And then even as a normal flag, pass, whatever in the open field, this will also work really, really well. Again, I would say make sure you have Mehmed at least 5/5 something here, because that's where his skill damage proc is. And the fourth skill would be nice to have the extra troops. We went over that earlier too. Mina Osman. This is a great open field pairing as well, but again, Osman is a conquering commander. You do have some bonuses when you're attacking a city for more than 30 seconds, which definitely does happen in KVK Season 1. Increases troop attack by 15% for 2 full minutes. So that's definitely worthwhile to have, especially if you're just rallying cities at the end of KVK and you want to just get the maximum amount of resources and damage out. It's very, very good. Troop capacity doesn't help you in a rally situation, but you do have all the extra skill damage factor that Osman brings to the table. That's why he's so good open field, and it works just as well, if not a little bit better, because of that second skill in a rally. So very, very good to have. That's only applicable in a city, though, when you're rallying a city. The open field and the normal pass flag rallies, those will only use the first and the third skill for the rally, and the fourth skill for the open field, just generic fighting. Then finally, we got Babar's Osman, same thing. It's just a different combination. You can kind of rework any of these pairings that you've seen so far, and you can kind of swap and match as long as you've got the right primary. And all of these builds are on my Discord right now, guys, if you want to go check them out. There's an open field and rally build. There's a city rally specific build, things like that. You have those available to you on my Discord. Link is in the description below. All right, so that's Cav. And now we're going to swap to infantry. Again, Richard Charles is going to be your gold standard for infantry for a long time, and really until Alex comes out is when this starts to get broken up a little bit. You've got Richard and Charles, super tanky, tons of counterattack damage. It's got a heal, it's got a shield. Even though these are both garrison commanders technically, although again, Charles is really going to be your main garrison commander. You should not be using Richard in garrison unless it's Shadow Legion or Ark of Osiris. This works really well as a pairing to rally with, because again, if you swarm this early game, you're going to be in a world of hurt, and then on top of that, this pairing is just going to heal right back up and cause a lot of severely wounded. This is a huge pairing that works for an extended period of time, and until again Alex comes out, this is your gold standard. Sun Tzu YSG. I had so much fun rallying things with Sun Tzu YSG. It is a little squishier than, especially with Richard Charles, right? It's a little squishier, but the damage you put out, especially early game with this pairing, and this is one that you could really max early game fairly easily, YSG is going to cost you some money, but this is a pairing that you can max, feasibly, and cause a massive amount of damage. It's an epic commander and a legendary commander, so you can focus on YSG and really get Sun Tzu maxed out fairly early just by normal gameplay. And this, I'm gonna tell you right now, Ark of Osiris, rally somebody's obelisk with this thing and take their obelisk and watch them zero themselves on that obelisk trying to take it back by swarming it. I've seen it a dozen times. There was one video I made an early Ark of Osiris when it first came out. This happened, and I just saw 20 or 30. I couldn't stop laughing. When I was casting, it was so funny. So this is a really good pairing to do for rallies, especially if it's successful in Ark and you take a building with it. They have to rally you, or else they're going to just zero themselves all over your building. So very good pairing to use. Same premise here, and again, Charles's first skill with the shield also increases troop damage by 30% while the shield is active. This is always active. Now it says troops damage, guys, so it does not impact his nuke. However, again, that troop damage with infantry is fairly significant, so that's just more damage pumping out. That's not a bad thing to have. The counterattack damage bonuses are very good with Charles as well. And then, of course, we know YSG and how good he is. This is also a very good rally pair. It makes your rally tanky and cause damage. Very good. It's a good combo to have. Sun Tzu Scipio, this is also a great open field pairing. This also works really, really well on cities and rallies. So you can also plug in, of course, Julius. We talked about it earlier. You want him 5/5/5 before you're rallying with him confidently. But his third skill, Scipio, increases all damage by 7% when attacking governor cities. So something to keep in mind there. The second skill is 15% chance with his expertise to increase troop attack damage by 100%. That's huge. For the next 2 seconds. Also has a 15% chance to heal a portion of his slightly wounded units when his army is less than 40% of its units remaining. So 40% health, you can get a heal as well. That's always very good. And his first skill is actually really good. And this is why Scipio is so good early game, because it's really difficult to kind of counter this. Reduces damage taken by troops by 25%. It's 25% damage reduction. And increases troops counterattack damage by 25% for 5 seconds. So he's going to be tankier, and he's going to cause more damage to people who are hitting him. So it's a really good combination. It's for 5 seconds, and once you get the skills rolling, especially considering you got Sun Tzu here, where his first skill generates 50 rage for every target his AoE hits, and you've also got, of course, the skill damage affecting that as well. That works really well. That combination, open field, especially early game, even into KVK Season 2, should work pretty well too. There's obviously better with Alex and YSG and things like that, but we'll get into that in the next series. But this is a really good pairing. And then finally, again, Sun Tzu Osman, the pairing is really, really good. You have additional skill damage on both commanders, so you can use latent power and feel confident in using those points. Again, we already went over Osman, but the attacking the city for more than 30 seconds, increase of 15%, troop attack for 2 minutes, and then, of course, all the extra nuke that Osman provides is very, very good. Now we get to go into the mixed troops, and again, there's only 3 presets, so I can't do a mixed troop preset, but I will make it for you. And we're going to do the gold standard best of the best Caesar Barca right off the bat, because again, this is one of the best early game pairings in the game. So that's your pairing right there. Caesar, again, we talked about it, the defense and attack bonuses, you actually get a damage bonus that would apply to Barca's primary skill, 400 damage factor here, so not too bad at all. Also the mixed troop capacity things that he gets as well when battling outside Alliance territory. That's great for Season 1 KVK. Also the bonuses that you get to damage when you have more than one troop type with Barca. It all works out, and plus you can just reinforce with whatever is on the field. That's always beneficial instead of having to have one troop type. That can cause you a problem if it's a long rally, whereas Caesar Barca, you can basically fill with whatever you got. No big deal. It's easy. It's pay to win. It's pay to win, especially early game. If you got this really, really early game in the first few weeks of the game, once Caesar comes out on the MGE and you really kind of win those, you're going to be in really good shape. Other great pairings. So something that's a little bit more normal. Let's see. Let's go with... We can do... Where's that? You can do Mehmed, Ethelfled, mixed troop. So again, we already talked about Mehmed, right? He has a ton of skill damage. He has the leadership talent tree, the conquering talent tree, things like that. But then Ethelfled's actually a really good rallier, and I'm going to kind of put her in here for a couple reasons. One, it's a massive debuff to their garrison. That's huge. Attack, defense, and health by 30%. That's big time. You can even have Ethelfled primary here. I just like I like the skill damage tree over, I believe she has the attack tree, right? Or no, she has the support tree. Support tree would be pretty good. Let's do Ethelfled primary. Let's do Ethelfled primary here. Ethelfled primary, Mehmed secondary. Because there is a lot of skill damage out there, guys. There's a lot of skill damage out there. So Ethelfled primary, Mehmed secondary. The reason I wanted to make Ethelfled primary more than anything else is because this debuff lasts for 2 seconds, which is just enough time for Mehmed's skill to go off, which is this one. So again, you want to have as much debuff available for Mehmed to really kind of shine. This does do a nice skill damage bonus there for the AoE, and the debuff, of course, is huge. And then this is more of an open field skill for the slow. However, what really kind of bangs it together is Fortress of Mercia. When this commander leads a rally attack, the rallied army has a 10% higher troop limit, which stacks, guys, with this Sage King. Okay, and there's also an increase on the leadership tree as well if you want to stack it up even higher. And when this commander is leading at least 3 different troop types, right here, their damage is increased by 20%. It's pretty darn sweet. It's pretty darn sweet. And then on the talent trees, you got Cage of Thorns in the support tree. If you slow them, you got an extra 20% damage to enemies who have been slowed. So you're stacking up the damage big time, and all of that applies to nukes. So it's not troop attack, right? It doesn't say deal an extra 20% troop attack damage. It says deal an extra 20% damage. That all applies to these nukes. This is a really good rallying pair, and one that's fairly easy to get to. Even though these are 2 legendary commanders, this is an expedition commander that you can get for, free. And then Mehmed, again, once you get him to 5/5 something, you're golden. You don't need to necessarily max him, although maxing him is always recommended for rallying. He's one of the best ralliers in the game, especially against cities. Some more mixed troop pairs. You got to have Freddy in there. So Freddy Mehmed is a great pairing. Again, same premise that we had before for both of these commanders in their different situations with the single troop type command. But again, you can do mixed troops with this pairing. You've got your heal right here as well. You've got increasing the 10% damage to governor cities, and of course one of the best single target nukes in the game at 2400 damage factor all in, 100% chance whenever he's maxed. This one's harder to get together, of course, because again, Frederick is very hard to max. He's on the daily chest, but towards the end, and again, sinking all your gold sculptures into Freddy, not going to be your best investment. I think YSG is a much better investment. And then once you've got him maxed out, you're starting to look towards Saladin and Alex and things like that. So really good commander, but one you want to kind of wait until towards the end to max out, unless you're a heavy spender. So again, and then, again, you can use Caesar here too. Caesar second or primary works just fine, although I like Freddy primary if you're using Caesar with this. So you can do Caesar second, same premise that we did with YSG Caesar. His buff will help the rest of it. So the increasing all damage, that will increase this puppy right here by 30%. So that will definitely work out really well. And it should still kind of parry over into it. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, depending on if Feral Nature procs with Freddy's Talent Path. What else we got? You can do Mehmed. You can do Mehmed with Caesar. You can do Mehmed with Freddy. You can do Mehmed with Ethelfled if you want to, or Ethelfled Mehmed we already did. So I mean, those are the pairings that you can kind of do. Ethelfled Freddy works really well as well. You can do Ethelfled Barca, although it's a little bit underwhelming, I think, but it's one you can max fairly quickly. You can have both those commanders maxed well before Season 1 KVK, because you can buy Barca and Ethelfled's in the Expedition shop, and it takes a couple months to do it. What else? You know what? I remember my very first kingdom. This was before I even came to K16. It was my very first kingdom. Somebody was using this combo, and it worked out really well. But this was just in the regular kingdom, like the first month of a kingdom. So kind of keep that in mind. But they used Freddy with Minna, and it worked really well because you've got the additional skill damage talents with Minna and with Freddy. So you're going to want to use full skill with max latent power. You can get the damage bonuses to the mixed troop types, and it works really well. Surprisingly well. So something else you can kind of play with a little bit. But again, Freddy is just so hard to max. Season 1, it can be done, but you really got to focus on them. And again, I just would not recommend doing that. And again, you can plug in El Cids on some of those Archer pairings, but again, YSG is just so darn good. And then some of the mixed troop commanders like Freddy and Mehmed and things like that for rallying just work really well. Everything else is going to be post Season 1 coming out. So, you got your next gen stuff like Tamiris and Edward, and for the archers, and you've got your, where are they at? Your Guans, your Attilas, things like that. That's not going to come out for quite some time. Even Saladin right here, he doesn't come out until Season 2, so you're not going to have access to him. Constantine, same thing. So all of these work really, really well together. I think this is really a good set for you guys to really focus on. Again, mixed troops going to be easier because of people not having too many troops to go ahead and fill those rallies. But the more devastating rallies are definitely going to be the infantry rallies here with Richard Charles, YSG Mehmed, YSG, Freddy, Caesar, that kind of thing. And then also Mena Double C on those rallies is going to be very, very devastating. You can do Mena YSG as well. Please don't hesitate to do that either. I do like Mena Double C just for single target. YSG does work as well, so you can use either way. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. This is the next edition of the Season 1 pairing series for KVK, and we're going to continue it with Garrison next time we do another edition of this series. So I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I will see you guys next time. Cheers, have a good one. Take care.